So we're talking about composite rating for small group health plans under the ACA. And what we're going to show in this video is a demonstration of an alternative method to composite pricing with small group health plans that achieves all the benefits but none of the downsides. And as a side note, I have to make this clear in every video because people get confused and apply it to the wrong industry or market. When I say small group health plans, what I mean is small group ACA plans. So we're not talking about large group fully insured composite rates, and we're not talking about self-funded or level funded composite rates. Those rates are calculated completely differently, so the concerns about composite rating do not apply there. It only applies to small group ACA plans. So this is an example of composite rating. It's where you take each employee and you break them into categories based upon how their family is set up, how many family members, that kind of thing. And you take the categories and you simply, for each employee, you find out what category they're in, and then the insurance company gives us a cost for each category. The alternative to composite rating is when a health insurance company gives us an age rating table. That's where they give us a table that has a list of ages and prices, and we simply take each member of the family, find their age, the corresponding price, and then we add all of that up, or we accumulate it for the family, and that's how you get a family premium total. This is the based on how prices are currently calculated under the ACA. This is actually the most accurate way to do it, but when you're using it in practice in a business scenario, it tends to be a bit confusing. And it's confusing because it's a complicated process to go and do all of this, employee by employee, dependent by a dependent accumulation. Composite rating is pretty simple. You just ask an employee what category they belong to, and then you have a price. So brokers and employers like composite rating because it's simple. It's easy to use. It's easy to understand. It's easy to communicate to a new employee or to an existing employee if they're asking, and it's also easier for administering payroll. And then a third thing that maybe gets underplayed is that it's also equitable. It tends to keep things fair. Every employee that's employee only pays the same price regardless of age. So it tends to avoid those kinds of problems. Let me show you an alternative to composite pricing, because we want to be able to achieve all those benefits that composite pricing offers, but just none of the downside. So this is a census from basically the last video, and we have the employees listed here. Obviously this is a dummy census, but in a real world scenario you might have the employee's name there, their age, and then we've created the composite tiers just based upon their family composition. And you've got the family count there, and then this is the premium. This is what would be billed by the insurance company according to this age pricing. So we're going to use the age pricing in this method, but you don't have to deal with any of the complication. The insurance company does all the adding together to create these totals, so you don't need to worry about that. The method that we're going to suggest for contributions that will solve the problem is fixed withholding. And that's a name I've given this method. I've seen other brokers use this, but unlike the percentage method or defined contribution for contributions, even though I've seen people use this method that I'm about to show you, I've never really seen an industry name where we've decided kind of on what we call this. So I call it fixed withholding. And what fixed withholding does is it essentially simulates a composite rating, but you're doing it internally in the company through contributions and payroll, and not handing that off to the insurance company for the calculation of premiums, because that's where the variation comes from. That's where the overpayments come from. So what we do is we simply take each employee's category and we assign them the composite rate. I'm going to just use these values here to make life easy. But we're talking about fixed withholding, so we're talking about how much are you going to withhold from each employee's paycheck. So we'll say employee spouse is $300, family is $600, employee only was. Okay, so it's that simple. We assign an amount we're going to withhold, and regardless of what the employee's premium is, we're going to just withhold the same amount. And then to make this clear, we'll show what the employer cost is. So this is what the employer pays. And it is simply the difference between the total cost and the fixed withholding. And we'll just drag that down so you can see for each employee. And that's fixed withholding. So fixed withholding, basically you simulate a composite rating, but you're doing it internally through contributions and payroll. You're not doing it through the insurance company, meaning the insurance company doesn't create its prices based on the composite structure. You do that internally. And when you look at it this way, you've accomplished all the advantages that a composite rating system gives you. One, you are simple. So it's easy to communicate to the employees, and it is easy to communicate to new employees and existing employees. The other thing is it's really easy for payroll. The only question you're really concerned about with payroll is how much do we withhold from paychecks. It's nice to have this information. Some employers will like to take this information and include it, but that's simple math. I mean, it's a minus, right? So add, subtract. And then the third thing that this accomplishes, you're still being equitable. You're still being able to communicate to an employee, hey, regardless of your age, if you're a family, it costs you $600. If you're an employee spouse, it's $300. Regardless, every employee spouse in the company pays the same amount for the same plan. And so you've accomplished all of the benefits of composite rating, but then none of the downsides. I think I might make a video tomorrow where I will actually show you some Excel magic to make this kind of fly, make it automated, so that you don't have to do all the manual typing and those things, and you can actually turn it into a tool, not just a presentation feature. But in any case, that's how I would go about solving the composite rating problem. I would use the age premiums from the insurance company, and then internally establish a fixed withholding so that we don't experience the price variation in the next year.